Help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance.
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped, and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here, I'm free now.
It was an emergency call that defied belief, almost like a plea from beyond the grave.
I'm Amanda Berry. I've been on the news for the last 10 years.
Missing for 10 years and assumed to be dead, Amanda Berry was very much alive. Amanda had disappeared in April 2003.
It's just getting too hard. If anybody knows anything about my daughter, I wish somebody would come forward, because somebody out there knows something.
For a decade, she was, in fact, never far from home. She was held captive only a few blocks away by this man, a school bus driver, Ariel Castro. She was confined and sexually abused, along with two other young captive women, Michelle Knight and Gina De Jesus. How lucky were these girls to be rescued?
These girls were extremely lucky. This was a miracle, and most of America believes that it is a miracle.
Tim Dimoff knows the mean streets of West Cleveland, and in 20 years as a detective in his hometown, he saw much of the worst of humanity, but never before a crime that so shocked the community.
He used chains, ropes, taped them, he intimidated them, he used a fear factor, and most of all, he did what is a very common denominator in many kidnappings. He made it very clear to them, if you escape or try to escape, I will kill your mother, father, brother, sister, your family members. I will kill you.
They lived with that fear until one sunny afternoon in May.
When a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms, something is wrong here. Dead giveaway.
Charles Ramsey, who lives 2 doors from Castro, was eating a hamburger on his balcony.
Next thing you know, here comes the scream that would wake up the dead. So I go up on the porch, and keep in mind I got a half-eaten hamburger in my hand, and I ask her, who are you and how'd you get in this house? And she say, I don't have time to tell you that. Just get me out this house. Hurry up and do it now.
That dramatic moment revealed the horror that for a decade had gone undetected in Seymour Avenue.
I grab the door. She's pushing out, but the door only goes so far. And I couldn't figure out why. Just come on out. And I look, and he's got that chain some kind of way wrapped up. With, ain't no opening up. I said, okay. So I looked there, I said, well, this ain't gonna work, obviously, because it's not opening. So let's be smart. Plan B is, let's kick the thing, get on out of there. So here she comes. I'm looking there, still like, where did this white girl come from? There's a child just going nuts. And I'm looking at the little pretty girl, and she grabs her, and they going across the street. Since everybody's looking, she holding this baby, and she's shaking, and she's like, I'm Amanda Berry. Somebody call 911. They just looking at her like, oh my God, and all that stuff.
We found them.
We found them.
With this police radio dispatch, the whole world soon knew that the missing women had been found alive. This mobile phone image captured the moment when Amanda Berry escaped, cradling a 6-year-old daughter fathered by her captor, Ariel Castro. But just as quickly as the celebrations came the questions. Why didn't the victims make an escape bid years ago?
Once a kidnapped victim is told that I will kill your family members if you try to do anything that I don't want you to do, they now become the guardian angel of their family members and will go through a lot to save that from happening to their family members.
You just have to kind of submit to your captor a little bit. Otherwise, you're just going to end up upsetting them and making your life in captivity even worse.
Katie Beers knows more than most what the girls would have been going through. She was kidnapped in Long Island back in 1992 and held captive there in a concrete underground cell for 17 days. She was only 10 years old. And what did he do to you during that time?
There were times during the 17 days that he treated me very, very well. There were times that he would sexually assault and rape me. It really would depend upon how, I guess, his day went, essentially. The police were constantly at his house for the 17 days because he was the last person seen with me. So the longer the police were there, the shorter his daily visits became.
John Esposito was formally charged today with kidnapping Katie Beers.
It was a living hell and something she says she will deal with for the rest of her life. The terrible thing, of course, is that Castro went on to have a child with one of his victims. Did you ever think that could have been me?
The thought of having a child with my captor, that really does sadden me, because I have 2 children that both came out of a very loving marriage. I love my children more than anything. I hate my captor more than anything. So if I couldn't imagine looking at this beautiful child that I loved so much and having these thoughts toward its father of such hate and disgust.
Happy Mother's Day.
Back in Cleveland, the locals are asking themselves how they could miss such a horrific crime right under their nose.
Hey, God bless you, brother. I'm so proud of you.
No one more so than Charles Ramsey.
Don't get me started crying and carrying on.
Does it amaze you that this can happen across the road from your house, in a house that you must look at every day, and you don't have an idea?
What's amazing is that this dude would come out the house, you know, when I saw him, and ask me what I think the Cavaliers gonna do this season.
Just an ordinary guy.
He like a human being, bro. This dude didn't come out with no creepy, freaky statements that make you go, what you on, bro? And there is no that. This dude was cool like me.
Take a stroll, and you quickly learn that this is a neighborhood where suburban normality and appalling violence almost casually coexist.
It says, do you know who killed me?
21 years old. Murdered in his home. Killer fired a single bullet through the front door.
Really?
It's a jungle.
Welcome to the hood.
And this dysfunctional hood was the perfect place for Castro to hide his evil ways almost in plain sight. Most worrying was that apparently you can't even trust the school bus driver.
Here's a gentleman that's driving our kids to school and realistically probably sitting there day to day, week to week, year to year, deciding on maybe which kid he's going to kidnap in the future. So that's really disturbing.
Okay, so put your policeman's mind to work for me here, taking me through it. The stages of it and where we might have picked up on something.
One neighbor saw some lady pounding on the front of the second-story window. Another neighbor reported that there was a naked lady crawling in the backyard. You walk by the house, there's no doorknobs on the doors, there's chains on them. The house is half boarded up. You get a couple reports, you know, and so this kind of stuff, people say, well, why didn't we look into it?
Fernando Colon says police didn't seriously look into his allegations either. At the time, he was the fiancé of Castro's ex-wife, and more importantly, the last person to see Gina De Jesus before she went missing. When the police interviewed you, you immediately thought of Castro.
Yes, I did.
And you told them?
Yes, I did.
And they just thought it was a family dispute?
Correct. He said, you know, he was going at my throat, I was going at his throat, obviously, you know. So that's the way they looked at it, yeah.
Cleveland police say there is no record of Fernando's allegations, which now, almost 10 years later, have proven to be the dreadful truth. What do you think should happen to Castro?
Mr. Castro is a monster. Mr. Castro is an evil person. I think he should be in darkness for the rest of his life.
And he probably will be.
And he probably will be. And I'm happy for that.
Amanda Berry is now living in suburban Cleveland with her sister. Gina DeJesus and Michelle Knight are reportedly together. All are protected by their family during these early stages of recovery. How can the girls process that kind of stuff?
It wasn't easy to get to where I'm at. I had the loving support of a foster family from the time that I was 10 years old and released from captivity. I also went through years of therapy. So those two things, I think, greatly helped me get to where I am today.
How are you?
You did a wonderful job. I'm so
Happy
proud
Mama
of you.
Day.
Thank you, very nice.
Meanwhile, Charles Ramsey is enjoying his newfound fame and status as the hometown hero.
One more.
They must be tough, these girls, to have survived what they've seen.
They tougher than me, bro, because remember, they still living. They endured what this fool put them through. That's what you're a hero. Really? Well, what do you call them?
As for Ariel Castro, he is now in prison, facing 4 charges of kidnap and 3 of rape. Short of execution, that is where he will spend the rest of his life. What's his future in jail?
His future in jail is total isolation for the rest of his life. He is a high-demand person that any inmate, many inmates, would love to have the reputation of killing. And if he gets near any of these specific types of inmates, he will not survive.
Hello, I'm Charles Wooley. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.